So I'm a newer filmmaker. I'm probably about a year and a half into serious filmmaking, and I just bought the Sony A7S III. According to my research, this thing is apparently an absolute beast, so let's check it out. I think all of us can agree that that footage looks super smooth and crispy. I'm so excited to actually use this for my other cinematic sequences. That's what this camera, the A7S III, is going to be designated for, whereas the A7 III, the camera I normally use, that's on the tripod right now, I love this thing, it's so nice, is actually going to be for more typical things and for lower end projects. By the way guys, don't forget to subscribe. And definitely leave a like on this video, as I'm going to tell you why I spent 4K on this piece of camera even as a newer filmmaker. And let's start with reason one. The first and foremost reason as to why I got the S3 even though I'm a newer filmmaker is actually the fact that I had a list going on for the last couple of months as to what expensive camera gear that I was going to buy, and they had to be extremely necessary. So I wasn't going to buy an extremely expensive softbox light like kind of like this one right here, if you guys can see. But I did need a second camera, and that came in with the drone, that came in with the gimbal. And I'm happy to say that this is the last huge expense that I actually have. So, ka-chow. Now you might be wondering, hey Anuj, why do you need two cameras? Especially if you got a $2,500 camera in front of you. You got a 4K camera that you just bought. Well, it's because I want to run multiple operations at the same time. It's going to make me more efficient and more effective when I'm doing my shoots, when I'm doing YouTube videos, when I'm doing whatever I'm doing. And so, for example, I could have the A7 III, the camera right in front of me, running some BTS while I have the A7S III doing the cinematic stuff. And then on top of that, I'll have the drone in the air for aerial footage, and you know, everything's good. And for those of you that don't know, I've been actually shooting a lot of my BTS with my iPhone 12 Pro that is not in my pocket. Where is it? What the heck? This guy right here has been shooting all the behind the scenes, and while it has super high quality for a cell phone, it still doesn't really compare to a camera, as this thing sucks in low light. And that just pissed me off because I shoot in a lot of low light situations. And if you haven't picked up on this already, now that I have two cameras, I have the ability to choose relative to the project that I'm doing which camera I want to use, and that can just make the process a lot easier or a lot more higher quality, and so forth and so on. Now the second reason as to why I got the Sony A7S III is because of its particular features. One of those features being this bad boy right here. That, my friends, is a flip out screen. The A7 III did not have this, and it just kind of stretched out backwards towards you. But now that I have this, life has become a lot easier. For example, if I'm vlogging, now I can actually see what I'm vlogging rather than just hoping that it comes out okay. And then another thing is when my gimbal is in underslung mode, which basically just means the gimbal is like really close to the ground, I can once again flip this right back up, and I'll be able to see without having to like kind of look around my gimbal and hope I can see the screen. Fun fact, for those of you watching my channel, well, first of all, I appreciate you guys, I really do. We've hit 300, so thank you for that. But I want you guys to know that my cinematic sequences, those B-roll sections that you see in the beginning of pretty much every video, has always been in 120 frames per second HD for the most part. So it's never actually been in 4K, though it may look like it. But this guy shoots 4K 120. The file sizes are huge, so it's a lot of storage. But because of that, just the raw quality, the raw just butteriness of the images is gonna be awesome. Stay tuned for these next couple of videos because it's gonna be eye candy everywhere. Speaking of high quality footage, the Sony A7S III has amazing color dynamic range. This thing has 10-bit, whereas the A7 III, the camera on the tripod, which I've mentioned multiple times before, has 8-bit. Now 8 versus 10-bit, that doesn't seem like a lot, but in color dynamic range, that is an exponential increase. And you guys saw it in the beginning B-roll sequence. The color on this thing is so good, and I'm so ready to just throw my blues and my oranges in there, because you know, San Diego, city of sunsets, the only colors I get out here are basically blue and orange. And now, my friends, it is time for yet another Concept New Era fun fact. And that fact will probably resonate and make a lot more sense to people who actually use these kinds of cameras, but it's the fact that I'm going to be trying to use the S-Log picture profile, S-Log 3 particularly. And so for those of you that don't know, what a picture profile is basically a color setting, if you will, in your camera that allows you to basically capture your footage originally in a different way, usually like a flatter color profile, so that you can edit with with more color dynamic range in the post process. So if you guys haven't realized already, this camera is definitely for serious filmmakers. It's definitely for people who want to take their content to the next level. Actually, it's for people that are at the next level. And that's exactly why I bought this camera, because this camera is gonna force me to grow. It's gonna force me to be a better filmmaker if I want to use this camera at its highest output. And I need to just become a better filmmaker in terms of filming things, in terms of getting that good footage and editing, the color grading, so forth and so on. And that being said, this channel is about to have some extremely awesome content coming out. We got a lot of plans, especially because I've been away for like, what, 2-3 weeks? So you know this creative mind been cooking. So I will see you guys next Wednesday. Don't forget to like and subscribe, all that good stuff, and take care.